Masto.
Thank you, and you teed me up nicely, because I do want to talk about the ET bill that both Mr. Ensminger, Mr. Hall, you talked about. This is the Open Evapotranspiration Data Act that I introduced. And the information's already there. Our goal is to make it public. And why is that important as we talk about evaporation, transpiration, water usage? Why do we need this data? So, Mr. Hall, I'm going to ask you first, and then Mr. Ensminger, if you would follow up.
Thank you, Senator. My vision of the future of the West includes a resilient agricultural community. Some of my most rewarding times as a professional have been when I'm working with farmers and ranchers, or early in the northeastern Colorado, more recently in California and Arizona. And if we want that irrigated agriculture future to be resilient, we're going to have to manage that water more closely. And to do that, we need good information on how much water is being used by the crops, how much water is infiltrating into the ground to recharge our groundwater and later recharge streams and rivers. And information on the evapotranspiration of the consumptive use is a key part of better understanding that water balance. Now, it's important to note that this information has been available for many years. It's a technology that's well established, and some states, like Idaho, have used it in a systematic way for decades. But that information up to this point has been primarily in the hands of a handful of entities, those who have the money to invest in it and pay someone to provide that information. And so we felt it was really important to put that same information into the hands of everyone who makes water management decisions, from the irrigators on the farms, water district managers, groundwater basin managers, and to make it easily accessible, more easily accessible to state agencies, et cetera. And that's what the OpenET platform does. It puts that data into the hands of everyone so that we can begin looking at the same data, diminish the arguments about whether that method is a little bit better or this method is a little bit better, and converge on a piece of information that we can all use and understand how it's affecting the water decisions we make.
And the idea is that it's available to everyone, including farmers and ranchers.
That's absolutely right. And
because let me just say, and Mr. O'Toole, thank you for being here, because I work very closely with farmers and ranchers in Nevada. I have found that my farmers and ranchers are better scientists and environmentalists about the land than some of the scientists that have been at the table, because they have to be. They know the land so well, they've lived it, they live off of it, and they respect it. So the purpose here is to make sure that that data, which already exists, is also in the hands of our ranchers and farmers, so that they can utilize it to their benefit as well. That's the purpose here. And Mr. Ensminger, anything else?
Well, you know, working for a water utility, we're firm believers that you can't manage what you can't measure. And the OpenET bill will give us the tools to measure where exactly the water is being consumed. And I'll give you an example from our service territory of how something like that could be deployed on the ground. You know, we did our own ET studies, figured out that the type of turf that's historically been installed in the Las Vegas Valley uses 73 gallons of water per square foot each year. But then we found some other species of turf that only use 55 gallons per square foot per year. So even in places where we want to have grass, which is not very many places in Las Vegas, but in our schools, in our parks, we can replace that thirstier grass with less consumptive uses, and that's the kind of thing that OpenET bill could probably be deployed for on the ground.
Thank you.
Senator White.